How you doing, guys? It's ZDEyE here. So, Starfield first early reviews are out. I want to say that it's a little bit disappointing that it didn't get any higher scores than it currently has, because mind you, early reviews means that Microsoft actually were making sure that they provided the codes to specific people that would actually give more positive rating for their games. So of course it was a calculated decision. It makes sense, it's a normal thing to do, it's as if we haven't actually seen this before. Now, of course, there's been a lot of conversations, articles regarding that. A lot of reviewers were not granted with the code, an early access code for the Starfield. So it's like a lot of questions going on there. It's just like corporation kind of like decision that they did, and it makes sense. Like I said, it's fine. Now, the thing that makes me kind of bamboozled, if that's the right word to use here in this situation, that quite a few early reviewers actually gave it a little lower score than perhaps maybe even Microsoft and Bethesda anticipated, such as like GameSpot and also IGN. They gave it a 7 out of 10. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that there were no 10s and 10s. Of course, there were 10s, masterpieces reviews. There were quite a lot of 9s out of 10s. There were a lot of 8 out of 10s, but of course, pretty handful of 7s out of 10s as well. And as such, just this actually will result of lower rating for this game. And that's not what they genuinely need in terms of having lower rating, right? Because you want to have higher scores, so this means that more confidence for your game, that a lot of new people would like to pick it up. And that is quite necessary for Starfield, because Starfield is a Microsoft saver. It should have been, but because it gets 87 on Metacritic, and I think it's like 88 on PC version on Metacritic as well. OpenCritic, I believe, is also like 87, 88. Of course, there's a recording of this video, because this means that Metacritic will actually reduce. More reviews come out, there will be a lot more critical, because they were not granted as this early access code, and due to that, there will be haters. We just cannot deny that, right? Their score will go down, and of course there will be more proper, like I said, critics as well. This Metacritic score will go down, and it will probably hit like maybe 84, 85 at max, at best. And that's not what Microsoft needs. They need a hitter for their platform. And so far, there has been none. Starfield was that one game, and it never hit. It didn't hit the 90 on the Metacritic. I was expecting for it to hit the 90 on the Metacritic at least, and because there's early reviewers that were actually getting access to this game, and yet they kind of like maybe kicked it under a rug for them, and they were not expecting this, perhaps, maybe, I do not know. And as such, it's still very kind of like concerning now. And also, I'm noticing a few stupid decisions that Bethesda has made. For example, that this game is genuinely outdated. And I mean, maybe that's what they were trying to go with, similar thing that they were already experienced with, and maybe they just like didn't really want to go a completely new direction with this game. Right, for example, the few bad things that I've noticed that a lot of people keep on constantly mentioning, that it has pretty terrible map system that makes key locations very tough to navigate and also find. And on top of that, it's just non-existent maps as well, like very questionable decisions. There's been a little bit of a mention that quite a shallow RPG mechanics with regards of the dialogue, quests, solutions, and the influencing outcomes, because it's very disjointed. From one moment, like you come up to an NPC, he's like inviting you, hello, welcome, and the next second moment he's extremely angry. He completely changes his tone and his emotion, right? It's just so disjointed. But this is outdated design. I thought this was remedied like decades ago. Like the last thing we've seen like this is more AA games, and of course Fallout 4 in some extent. And that's just not all. Like, it's quite an underwhelming vision of the space exploration and humanity's spacefaring future as well. It's questionable decisions that obviously needed to be remedied and of course needed to be fixed, and yet the decision of this was, well, not so much looked at. Of course, Bethesda has glitches, bugs, well, yeah, all that is here, is all present. Now, nevertheless, of course, this is, and as everybody says anyway, that I've noticed, that this is Bethesda's best polished game. I cannot imagine how this game would have turned out if it would have been released at the end of 2022. Thank God it got delayed for like an additional 10 months. It's like questionable decisions that they're making here is very weird. Now, okay, I've been touching on regarding the Metacritic score, the Open Critic score, and we cannot really judge the, how can I say, the book by its cover, right? It makes no sense. But because of this, I made sure to look through at least to some of the earlier reviews that at least I somewhat trust. For example, the Kinda Funny Gamecast, I've been checking them out as well. I've listened through IGN's review as well. I don't really think IGN review kind of works with this like scoring system at least, but Kinda Funny Games cast, I think they do a far better job in terms of the reviews since they're far longer and they go in more details. And of course this includes no spoilers in here as well. And yeah, they just mentioned all these problems that this game has. And mainly the things that are present here that are problems is the outdated mechanics. And that sucks. I think Bethesda needs to stop using Creation Engine. They need to move on. Creation Engine 2.0, whatever they like to call it, is not good enough. Like, I genuinely think that maybe they should move on to Unreal Engine because that's where the modernized technology is, the modernized tools. I get a lot of you may say like, well, they're far more familiar with the Creation Engine, that's the reason why they decided to keep on going with it instead. And of course, now that the Creation Engine will be used once again, but this time for Elder Scrolls 6, and it's been already confirmed that it's in early development starting, well, now after the release of Starfield. That's quite insane since the last time we actually heard of Elder Scrolls 6 was back in 2018, I believe. That's 5 years ago. I was 23. 5 years ago. Now I'm 28 and now I have to wait another 5 years to experience Elder Scrolls 6. So it's quite disappointing. But of course, I'm not gonna say that everything is bad news. Genuinely not. There's quite a few good aspects of this game that are definitely present here. Right? Starfield has like a lot of focus working like against it. Right? Of course, it makes sense. But eventually, like all of its issues that I've just mentioned a little bit, there's just so incredible role-playing that you can actually be part of this world. And very good actually combat. That was a little bit of a surprise, but I did hear the melee combat sucks. But the shooting felt good. As there's been a mention of solid gunplay, there's also quite an incredible customization. Oh, talk about customization. Yet another menu system, the UI. Well, that's bad as well. See, there's just one thing after another. There's a good thing, there's a positive, there's a negative, and this just keeps on going like this. And it's just these questionable decisions that they made. And the main element why it is not a 10 out of 10 for a lot of other people is because of the outdated design for this game that Bethesda has chosen to go with. Oh man, this is so disappointing, you know what I mean? Like, remember, like in yesterday's video, I said that Microsoft needs a win, it needs a masterpiece game. I was actually expecting in some degree that Starfield could be it. I even said that Starfield would not be enough to go up against all of the PlayStation games by itself, alone, right? And even if it gets some masterpiece reviews. But yet, look at this. Few it did, gave it a masterpiece reviews, 10 out of 10s. But because of so many others that gave it a 7 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s, this just makes this game a great game. But that's not what Microsoft needs. Microsoft needs a masterpiece game. And this just solidifies that, unfortunately, Microsoft is never going to be up to the degree, to the passion and incredible titles, incredible games that PlayStation has. I will be playing this game on my PC. Because I want to experience this game, I want to see what it's got to offer. I enjoy Bethesda titles, some of them, of course some of them are not so much. But I'm not gonna deny and say and lie, just say that everything is fantastic and there's no issues, because everything that Bethesda has bad is present here. Right, especially the outdated design, characters look kind of outdated as well. The world sometimes occasionally can look bad, but of course there are moments that are incredible too. Ah, man, I feel like I kind of been ranting in this game a little bit, and I hope I don't come out too negative about it, and I apologize if it seemed like so. I just hope that Starfield will be a masterpiece, and I hope that Microsoft will be able to pull off at least one masterpiece game, but seems like they cannot. God damn it. Like I said, PlayStation needs a competition, and with the increase of the PlayStation Plus, they're becoming far more arrogant. They're just in a fantastic spot. And Microsoft keeps on getting, like, failures after, well, failures is a strong word, I can't say that, but not to the degree that where you and the Xbox fans deserve that should at least get a masterpiece game. Starfield, unfortunately, well, it's not one of those games. But still, Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out on PlayStation. That's gonna, like, oh my goodness, that's just like everybody's gonna be playing that instead of Starfield by the looks of things, of course. Well, again, we have to wait and see for that. Now, thankfully, Baldur's Gate 3 will be coming sometime later this year on Xbox as well, even though split screen component will be removed. Here there's issues with Xbox Series S. There's also some things I heard that Todd Howard mentioned, or somebody anyway mentioned, that it would have taken them a few more weeks to even few months of delay, additional delay, if they wanted to have Starfield on PlayStation. I don't think that's actually the truth. I think it's actually it would take a lot more. Like Baldur's Gate 3 already solidified that kind of this, answer for us. PlayStation is not the issue. Xbox Series S is the issue. They gotta get rid of that platform or do some extra compromises, and of course they are doing it. So, and yeah. All right, guys, like and subscribe. See you guys all, and have a wonderful day.